Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the cabin. I had so many things I wanted to talk about today. I've narrowed it down to just a couple. And as you can see with this title here, the end is near. This is just an entree to talk about something that's coming for all of us and something I think a lot of us should be thinking a little bit more of than we already are. So let's go take a look. I had to narrow it down to just a couple of topics because we've had some pretty decent days of sales, the last two especially. We have 23 things headed out of here for just around, well, a little bit over $1,000. And this one was super cool to get this sale as fast as we did. I picked this up at the 127 sale just a couple of weeks ago, and we just got it listed. And I just got to show it to you. It's that cool. I loved it. When I saw it, it was underneath a table of cassettes. And I'm like, huh. I usually look at cassettes, but when I saw this, and I saw the paperwork, and I saw what great condition it was in, and I've sold this particular model before. I knew they came for good. They sold for good money. Look at that. Just perfect. And that right there, I figured it'd bring in $75, $100, and it did. It sold for $100, $99.95. For that model, which I don't know the model number, but you get the point. Plus shipping, I think I might have paid $10 for it. I can't remember. It's either 5 or 10, but still really good profit. I had originally intended for this video to talk about two things relating to that title that had totally nothing to do with each other. But we've just narrowed it down to one, so it may seem like a little clickbait and may look like reselling in general is coming to an end. And I do think that there is one significant threat to it, but that's going to have to be on another video because there's just too many sales. We're going to look at just a generic one, looking at this era we're in, not this era, this time period we're in right now. I've got a lot of messages from folks that have said, hey, this is the worst summer ever. And I don't know if that's the case or not. It's been up and down for me, but I've also been gone and back and gone and back, so it's hard for me to judge. And some people are saying, no, sales are great. Some people are like, sales are average. Some people are like, this is the worst ever. I'm quitting eBay. So there's a little bit of that, but I want to encourage some folks out there too, because the end of the summer is coming soon. And right now is when you need to prepare for Q4 and you need to get to work on some things. I want to talk about some of those things, get your feedback on it as well. Let's take a look at some more items that sold. There are undoubtedly folks out there in quite a funk for, maybe the sales are bad, whatever the reason is. And I want to implore some folks right now that you're about ready to get a boost in attention, and it's pretty organic. It's natural this time of year. And that's the secondary point I want to talk about a little bit today after we get through the first phase here. So this item here, this is actually a pretty good one. I bought this thing over 2 years ago, and it just sat and sat and sat. And there were comps out there at the time, this Disney Showcase collection. And it's not something that I thought would have much value, but I saw comps and I'm like, huh, because it's precious moments, I'm like, I didn't think it had much value, but it actually had some pretty good value. But apparently the market went down on it when I priced it. Had to reprice it multiple times. Finally it sold, and it sold at 30% off for $27.30. The original price before I started dropping it was like $55. So I'm glad I made that sale, and it's been a long time coming. I've considered moving, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get into that topic here in a minute, but I'll just show you this right now. I've considered moving that right here or right here because I so desperately wanted to sell it that I wanted to cheat. I wanted to get some attention for it, but it just doesn't look good as a box up there, so I decided not to. Went out on 30% off, and that one did not go to a viewer. I think we had 3 viewer sales today out of 23, but it's headed out. So Q4 is undoubtedly knocking at the doorstep. It's not here yet, but now's the time to prepare for it. And every year when I start to see Halloween stuff show up in the stores, I know that it's time. And if you don't have your Halloween stuff listed, for instance, you're probably a little behind the game. And I think that stuff should be listed now. That's a minor point compared to what I want to make today. I'm going to talk about attention. And something I talk about a lot, but I don't ever talk about it in these terms. It's something I think about a lot. I've talked about things like my friend that used to own the grocery store and how, if you wanted your items to sell, where you put them in the grocery store was key. The patterns that people move through, the checkout stand, all that stuff. And I talk about that in terms of social media. I also talk about it in terms of promoting your listings on eBay or not promoting them, promotion in general. And I want to get into that and talk about it in ways I've never talked about it before and see how you react to it, see if you think I'm right. And then eventually, over the next few weeks, get into this topic again as it relates directly to how we should be operating in this new reselling world that's quite a bit different than it was just 2 years ago. And for those of you who may be new to resale, maybe you haven't even really gone through a Q4 yet. There's a lot of people out there who overhype it. I'm not here to overhype it. But I will tell you that you are going to see some organic attention just simply because of the season. And if you're not prepared for it, you're going to probably lose out a little bit. I think, here it is right here. I think this is it. Cottonmouth, is that right? No, that's not it. There it is. Had to move this out of the way. And get this one out here. It's a sealed Cottonmouth Kings, like single promo. I don't know what it is. But I picked this up for $1 at a sale, along with a ton of other dollar cassettes that I only picked the ones that were going to sell. And this one did. It didn't sell for much, but it sold for $10 plus shipping. So I've always been interested, not just as a reseller, but teacher and coach and all that, in trying to find cheap ways, easy ways to accomplish tasks that don't expend much capital or much energy, much time. And one way to do that is to artificially create attention towards you, towards your brand, towards your product. And I do that all the time. Those of you who watch me for years, you know. I mean, I've said it before. I'm like, there's a reason this stuff is here. I mean, look at what I just did. There were specific items right here. This didn't get here. There was a blank spot there, so I filled it up, right? And I came back and I picked this thing. I mean, how cool is that? Little Sanrio Wii controller. And you see products. And getting eyeballs on products is the key to selling them, assuming everything else is right. So all that other stuff we're not going to talk about today. You know, your price point's got to be right. Your pictures have to be decent. Your titles, your keywords, all that stuff needs to be in place. But organic traffic, natural traffic increases in Q4 for specific products, not for every niche. You know, people aren't going to buy toilet seats. Oh, it's Christmas, let's buy a toilet seat. But you get the point. People are out there searching. And you can create it as well as enjoy the benefits of the natural push and attention. And I think people need to be ready for it. We're going to talk about that for just a second. And then we're going to leap into the part about creating it and just touch on that. Now, if you're new, don't, let some of these creators and these social media types tell you that it's the end all and be all. Q4 isn't going to change a bad store into a good one, but it will bump bad stores and bump good ones. And I think we should be prepared for it. I don't know. Maybe some of you can help me out there with percentages. This is a Liner Class A Flying Scotsman, another one of our dollar trains that sold for $21 plus shipping. So for me, it might be, I don't know. I'm going to guess because I don't dig into my numbers a ton. But probably at least a 20% bump in Q4 than it is in the summer. And that's a minimum. And that's because of the type of things that I sell. And you get a lot busier in all kinds of ways, family ways, kids are back to school, all that. But being prepared for Q4 now is when it'll pay off. So you've got a little bit of time, but it's time to get to work. Is there anybody out there who stops sourcing at all during Q4? I don't stop sourcing till the weather turns bad. But when it does, I stop sourcing and I focus completely on selling. And I'm going to try to do that this year. Not completely, but probably half or less of the sourcing that I normally do. Probably 75% less than I normally do. Is there anybody else out there who does that? They stop sourcing and do nothing but sell. And let's face it, if your sales are slow, which a lot of folks are reporting right now, it's hard to get motivated to do work and get ready for a slightly better season of selling. But let me tell you, the attention will be on us, the eyes will be on us, and we want to be prepared and we want to be able to make sales throughout that season. And you know, there's a reason, what do they call it, Black Friday, right? You're out of the red and into the black. I hope that's not the case. This is a sweet vintage Swatch watch that's been listed for quite a while. And I got decent money for it, really good money for it actually, before it went on discount. This one sold for $59.95 plus shipping. So that is the natural bump you're going to see. But I want to talk a little bit about the things you can do to push your store even farther. And yeah, there's the obvious part. And this isn't going to be for everybody. I just got to be honest with you. And I'm just going to touch on a few things. Kind of, I've already touched on a little bit of them. You know, I don't do promoted listings, but I also don't tell other people not to do promoted listings. I promote the heck out of my listings. I do it on social media. I have 30 posts a week across all social media platforms that push all of my businesses, not just this one. This one is an increase probably of 20 to 25% in sales because I'm posting on social media. There's an ROI for that, right? It makes sense for me to do that. Plus, well, let's talk about it in slightly different terms. Let's talk about it in attention and underpriced attention. It's something I've been focused on for a long time, and there are so many opportunities for underpriced attention. I'll give you some examples of what I do for different parts of my business, and maybe some of those might trigger some thoughts as to how you can do this. We kind of did this last year, but in a totally different way than I'm talking about right now. Just the idea, hey, we should be, since we're all out there on social media, not necessarily like I'm on social media, but you have your own personal social medias. You have maybe some that you're trying to push in different niches. Maybe it is like me. I don't know. It just depends on who you are. But most of us are on social media somewhere. And you want to talk about underpriced attention. You can get attention for free on social media now. And, you know, obviously, if it's not returning the time and effort you put into it, it's a bad decision. However, I think there are ways collectively we could do this. Now, we did it last year. We talked about the hashtag check eBay first, hashtag vintage Christmas, all those things, you know, Halloween stuff. It's easier when you're in a community, you're in a group of people to push certain things. It's kind of the reason that led me towards district, because there was an ROI to be had in community, not just helping myself make sales, but to then take the attention that I'm getting, the underpriced attention that I'm getting, and parlay that into other people's sales, so where I can add value to other people and they can add value to me. All of this stuff might seem like it's crazy for some traditional eBay resellers, but let me tell you, the landscape is changing a little bit, and there is something that just about everybody can do out there to not just enjoy that bump in Q4, but to actually push themselves and to push their own things out there a little bit more and to increase it a little bit more. This is kind of a cool pickup at a sale that I didn't expect to find anything at, and ended up finding a bunch of stuff. This is a Estix bag. This is, I think, for, yeah, the electrical company bag. When I saw it, I thought, huh, somebody's gonna want that. I don't know who, but somebody is, and it's got the leather straps on it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And it was only $5, I think, maybe 10. It's hard for me to remember these days. This thing sold for $49.95 plus shipping. So how do you get more attention? Of course, there's promoted listings, and maybe, and I don't push people to do promoted listings ever, because I don't. But I promote things during Q4 on my social media that I wouldn't otherwise promote at different times of year. Like, for instance, we talk about a Halloween thing. I'm thinking to myself, you know, Halloween's about ready to pop. Maybe we should do a Dibbed It live sale all day with Halloween stuff. That kind of little stuff where you promote certain things at certain times of year that you wouldn't traditionally do. So maybe there's a strategy of, hey, looking at your store and picking out those Q4 type items and doing a little promotion then, because let's face it, you see a lot more casual buyers in Q4. Maybe not even casual, sometimes desperate buyers, sometimes first-time buyers, sometimes people who only buy during Q4 on eBay, and they don't even realize you can filter to, you know, lowest price and all that. And so the promotion might be even more beneficial for you for those type of items in Q4. Maybe using social media, not even if you're not a social media creator, maybe you have just a lot of really cool items that really could sell to people you know, and you have a Facebook page or an Instagram, and you want to share those and say, hey, these are over there. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, come grab these. These are perfect. And it may not work, but you know what? It might, and you're on social media anyways. Let's face it, most of us are a lot. This little thing you hold in your hand, you know, in your back pocket is the ticket really to the world, and you can push yourself in ways that you've never really thought of before, and some of them may end up working for you. I'm not going to take that out. It's Panasonic Mini DV palm quarter. I don't know what Panasonic called them, camcorders. $99.95 plus shipping. I wasn't going to share this, but I think it's appropriate here. I think I'll share it. And it may not apply to everybody, but just one thing that I've started to see in this attention world that we live in. I mean, let's face it, you used to have to pay to get, if you owned a business, you'd have to pay to get attention on your products. And we kind of do that now if you use promoted listings. And fees, the fee structure itself is you're paying to get eyeballs on your items. But it used to be like that for everybody. Now you have this tool that you can promote yourself. And I'm not saying this is for everybody, but man, there are so many people out there. And the more I do this, the more I realize that it's not even underpriced attention that I'm getting. I'm getting paid for the attention. And now this has grown so much, thanks to you guys, that people are coming to me to get attention for their items. And that's why we started Dibdit.com, shopcommons.net, because, can I say this? I guess I can say this. The cost of attention on Whatnot was higher for me than I could create a system, and I could create a system over here with a lower cost of attention, with a long-term gain, and bring attention to those who support me anyways. I couldn't do that on Whatnot, but I can do that on these other platforms. There are people, I guess I'm going to mention them by names. So, Resell to Ride, Biggest Collectibles, FleaCon, all these folks over there now, there are tools in place that I can bring attention to them. And they've been there from the get-go, and it's been kind of a struggle. But now it's growing, and now it's paying off. So there are some things, and I'm not saying everybody does that, but there are some things where you can, what's the word I want to use? Not attach yourself to somebody, but you can get into somebody's network. You can promote yourself, you can promote your product, your brand, and increase sales, increase attention at a very low cost these days, which is something we've never been able to do. You know, when I was a kid, you couldn't do it. And, you know, you'd be paying a radio station for an ad or a TV station or something. But this is not new. All this stuff is not new. How do you get eyeballs on your items? If you're a good seller, you sell good things, you know how to list, how do you get eyeballs on your items? If you can do it cheaply, you can increase your profits. All right, I just decided I wasn't going to head down the road that I just started heading down. But now that I'm halfway there, I'm going to go all in. I think this might interest some of you. I'm going to use a couple examples here. Here's one, Tupperware. This is, well, let me just tell you what this one sold for real quick. I picked it up for 50 cents at the 100-mile sale. I was struggling for about an hour with finding very little, and I'm like, I'm going to break that streak, and I'm going to grab this, because I've never sold a Jiffy Sift before. And I bought it for, like I said, 50 cents, sold for $15 plus shipping. And some of you may say, I'm never doing social media, I'm never going to push anything, I'll just, you know, pay eBay to promote, whatever. That's fine. Perfectly okay, and I totally get that. But here's Tupperware. If I wasn't so consumed with all the stuff that I do outside of reselling to promote reselling and to make money on social media, I'd have a Tupperware page. I like it, for one. I follow a couple people on Instagram who have made a business out of nothing but Tupperware. I've talked about the Daily Cabbage before. She's on Instagram. A lot of you follow her, and she's made a business out of Cabbage Patch. And that's not all she does, but she's making a pretty good business out of it. Plus, she's got that page, and there's people following her. A lot of you folks who are niche down, there are so many opportunities. Matter of fact, I got a message from somebody the other day, says, hey, I see somebody who has a massive following with granny square stuff, and that they're turning it into clothing, and they're showing the process, and they're selling this stuff right there on site, and I think they would really benefit from Dibdit, right? And they're like, huh, like you could promote them, they could promote you. There's so many ways that people can, there's 100 ways you could succeed, at least in reselling right now. The world is at your fingertips right now. And there are so many opportunities. I would just implore people, don't get down if your sales are bad. Get creative. Start thinking about the path that you're going to take, not the one that maybe didn't go the way you planned, because there are so many opportunities that are literally just blossoming right in front of us as resellers. Not just eBay anymore, but I think eBay is going to remain a massive part of it. And some of us have figured out how to incorporate all of these things together. And I think there's so much opportunity out there for other folks, especially knowledgeable, niche down folks. I want to bring up a couple more things. Then I got to head out to the other cabin here. Bubba's fiance's out there. I want to tell you about something out there. Plus, I got to grab something that they were going to sell in a live show that I wanted for Turner Stocking. But I wanted to tell you about a shopcommons.net sale. It was a fill-a-bag sale. And I wasn't having an incredible day. Well, actually, that day turned out pretty good. Just I hadn't had it yet at garage sales. And so I'm like, all right, I got to find something to make money. And they had a fill-a-bag sale, and I saw a bunch of American Eagle Airflex jeans. And I'm like, I can fit 8 in this bag. It cost me $5. I don't really want to sell them independently for 15 bucks a piece. Take forever. My jeans bin is full. So I put them over really cheap on shopcommons.net, $24 plus shipping. So I didn't make a ton, but this has to do with cheap attention. So the one thing that I was experiencing on Whatnot and paying all those fees, there's a few things. I don't care. I'll talk about it. You can see I'm battling with myself. I was doing, if you watch my Commonwealth Picker channel, I was doing ads for Whatnot, and I would do 1 a month, sometimes 2. And that got to be time-consuming, frustrating, you know, sending in the ads, getting approval, and I would get paid for it. But it got to be that the ROI on it wasn't as beneficial as I thought it was going to be, and I was doing sales, and of course you got to pay the fees, and the fees are pretty high. And so I made the decision, and that's the decision all of us have to make to some degree. Where do you put your time in? And the time should be best spent where the money is made. That's your ROI, not just on your investment, but on your time. And so what I did was I started to mull over this shopcommons.net. I started to mull over Dibdit and all that stuff that I ended up doing. And it was really all about what I'm talking about. It was about cheaper attention. And that's why when I did shopcommons.net, I did 8% fees. And that only on the sales price, not the shipping price. I'm like, in order to get this to work for people, they have to get attention on their items, and it has to be cheaper than the attention that they're getting from somebody else, and they're going to have to see results. I'm shocked by how much success that brought. So flip that on its head, and how do you search after that cheap attention? There's ways to do it that takes a lot of time, which is what I do, but there's other more simple ways too. Let me know out there if you have a way. I'm going to give you an example of somebody who's done this in social media in just a second. Let me have an example or two if you've had success selling a particular item using promotion, not paying for promotion, but using unique promotion because of the items you're selling at a particular time of year. And tell me what that is in the comments below. I have so much more I want to say, but I'm not quite, I haven't even picked half the items yet. So I'm going to try to get it summed up here in the next couple minutes and then pick like crazy here. Wheel locks from Hyundai. These were a $5 purchase. And I bought a ton of them, different styles and sizes, and we're down to 3 left, $30.95 plus shipping. All right, I'm going to try to explain what I'm trying to say with 3 examples and see how just maybe you might fit into this. And this might not be everybody, but this is how reselling is changing. There's all kinds of changes that I'm going to get into coming up over the next few weeks that can be massively beneficial for your business and the future of your business. At the same time, I don't want to tell people, hey, if you're a traditional eBay reseller, you're not going to be able to sell anymore. That's not the case either. But do you want to grow it? Do you want to take on a new challenge? So obviously, I'm going to use an example from Shop Commons here really quick, but then I'm going to get into some other things that may be more relevant to you. Look at this video right here. This is Grams and Pops Vintage. Right here, you've heard me talk about them. You've heard me tell you that she's the Tupperware stealer before. We've mended fences. Check that out. That's cool. Anyway, look at this. Shopcommons.net. 1.1K views on their channel right here. And he's promoting my stuff. Right? He's promoting shopcommons.net. So when I talk about cheap attention or, you know, good ROI on your attention, I did things that I never do before in order to promote something that I really believe in and was missing from the space. And I went on and I pushed. I went on and I did live shows. I went on and I did other people's shows, which I never ever do. I did Reseller Information Network. I did Reseller Island Podcast. I did, what else did I do? I did Reseller Leftovers Podcast. I'm going to go on probably Ray's show, Nashville Flippers. I may do a couple more. I'm going to go on Kat's show, and I've never done that in years. Kat the Nurse Flipper, and I'll probably tease her because she used to send me stuff all the time hoping for a shout out. Love you, Kat. I did that too. Don't worry about it. At any rate, I did all that stuff because there are ways to get attention that are extremely cheap. In this case, free. And so folks like this right here, they have been we've been mutually benefiting off of each other. So he'll post stuff on Instagram like, look what I just sold. I've sold $1,500 worth of stuff on Shop Commons, and this is how many things I've sold. This is what I bought off of there. And then he tags me in it, and I repost it. Benefits his sales, benefits his social media, benefits me. All of this stuff can be done. You just have to do it in a nice, delicate way. You got to do it in a way that's responsible, that has good ROI for the time involved. And some of you might be saying, well, I can't do this. I don't have whatever. Yes, you can, because reselling is changing. There are so many people I have never met before in my life who are now reselling on my district platforms, and I'm promoting them. I'm going on live with them during their shows. Here's another example. And this is the beauty of not just plain static eBay selling, which I'm still going to always do, but you can get into smaller communities with the right eyeballs. So I'm not a card seller, right? But I got all these cards to sell that I bought. And I know I'm not going to be great at selling them. So you know what I did? I literally jumped on somebody else's live card selling show on, this one was on Dibdit. It was Biggs Collectibles. He was selling cards. I'm like, hey, can I come sell a few cards on there? He knows what he's doing. He has the right audience for it. And I went on there and I sold over there. Now, you can't necessarily do that on eBay. You can't at all, really. And I think this is where things are changing a little bit. And maybe for some of you, you might be able to find these right. I mean, think about it. If I was selling glass, look, I did this. You know, I've given examples of people helping me and me helping them. But I did this because I saw that the audience on knickknacks for glass was so incredible. And if I went on to go sell glass, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So I went out and found people to get me the attention that I needed and the expertise that I needed in order to sell the massive amount of glass that I bought that I don't know anything about. And I learned in the process. I got Tim over the years to help me sell it. I used Jocelyn's platform to help promote it. And it sold like crazy. And I was a benefit to her. I hope she made money off of me. And she was a tremendous benefit to me. And Tim, of course, was a benefit as well. Those things are out there. And you might think, hey, I can't do that. I can't get in those networks. Now you can because of platforms like that. You can do it completely yourself on Instagram. I see people selling on TikTok and all these. And that's not for everybody. But let me tell you, I would choose not to ignore it. A lot of people are completely ignoring the changes that are going on and saying, I'm going to do it this way. It's always worked. It's always going to work. You might be right. And I hope you are for some folks. And I think for the most part, static selling on eBay is always going to be there. It's not ever going to disappear. It just depends on what you want and what you envision going forward for your business. See what I mean? Look, Q4 already selling, and Q4 sells year round, but it certainly sells better in Q4. There's no doubt about that. So even if everything I'm talking about today does not apply to you, this does apply to you. It is time to get prepared, time to get in gear, because your sales will increase if you put in the legwork, and don't be lazy out there. So here we go. $29 was the tag on that one. I wonder what it sold for. I think it was $21 plus shipping. And this is an Anna Lee snowman. We're going to head out to the other shed for just a second, but I can tell you, if you're the, I don't know, if you're the Cabbage Patch person, if you're the Care Bear person, if you're the Tupperware person, if you're the tool person, if you're the Halloween person, whatever the person you are, if you can create a niche around that for you, you can be beneficial to others and they can benefit you. And in this new world that we live in, it is going to become increasingly more and more important. Not, you know, exhaustively important, but it is going to become important. And I think there is a small percentage of the people out there who are watching this show, maybe 2%, that could change their lives based on a trajectory that they choose. And at the very least, for you out there who are listening, don't completely reject this out of hand. I think 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, 5 years from now, you'll really see the changes that I'm talking about now. I'm fortunate enough because of you guys who watch the show that I'm seeing all this stuff go on behind the scenes. And there's a lot of topics along these lines that I want to get into. not just to promote some of the things that are new, but to also protect some of the things that are old. Because let's face it, I'm an old-time reseller, and that's what I want to do forever. I want to do this, what I'm doing right now, pulling orders on eBay. It doesn't have to be eBay, but static listings, listing things statically, selling them statically, shipping them when I want to. I like that the best. And I think there is a threat to that out there as well. Not from these new ideas, but actually from some old ideas. And I want to talk about those things too, but I don't have time today. I still need to pick a bunch of stuff. And the rest of those cards, I'm going to sell them with Carrie. Carrie's the card guy, right? And there are people out there who are card buyers, card sellers, and you know Carrie, and you may not have ever heard of me. And I'm going to tap into that market, and he's going to help me do different things. And that's the kind of thing that people can do, not just on big scales, but on small scales. All right, I'm surprising Bubba's fiance. Surprise. Oh, sweet, you got that shirt on today. When Jess is in here, she watches the TV. You just watch, you don't watch anything?
Silence.
Def Leppard t-shirt. Can you tell them where they can get it?
80stees.com.
All right, so she's in here actually preparing a Dibdit.com show, and she sent me messages about stuff if I want to put it on there, but I actually bought this for Turner. Don't you think Turner like that? He loves Bigfoot.
Yes.
The Bigfoot call. And I wanted to make sure I got this in his stocking. So she's out here doing that. And that's part of what I want to talk about as well is, hey, there's a lot of time involved in doing live selling and stuff like that. And oh, check it out. This will all be sold by the time you see it. But we're going to be doing a ton of shows with Carrie over there on Dibdit and with a ton of other people. I've already gone and co-hosted with 4 other people that you may have never heard of. And that's kind of the benefit of finding ways to get attention. All right, so hopefully I'm making sense to some folks. See you later. And before y'all think I'm crazy out there, you're starting to see the social selling on larger platforms right now. You're seeing the reselling platform of Walmart is now in YouTube all over the place as links. You're starting to see it. You've seen it on TikTok for a year. I hope, and from what I hear, there's a little bit of a challenge. eBay's been trying to get into this. This is all scuttlebutt. But they're trying to tap into this social media selling thing in a way that will benefit folks like us who like to sell statically. All right, I'm gonna pick like crazy here. If I don't get picking soon, I'll never, ever get done today. But at least for those out there who aren't ready for this kind of stuff yet, keep an eye on it. You might find a place where you can succeed in ways you never thought before. This sold for $10. These Camaro keychains, we're discounting them at this point, $10.46. Had a tiny little sale of an item that's been sitting in here for a while, and I just gotta find it. It's Mary Kay. I think it's the last one of those cheat color bricks, or the brick cheat color, and it sold for $6 plus shipping. Many of you have been doing this for years already in Facebook groups, finding the targeted audience. And I know people who are selling things for over eBay prices inside of Facebook groups. And it's because I knew this that I decided to go along this community buying and selling, and we're going to push it. We always do in our own Facebook group around Christmas, you know, buy from each other. And we have people post their stores and Trash Cash Facebook group and supporting each other in community. And I think that that's where things are headed. For some folks, at least, those are Keen shoes. And this was a viewer sale, the first one of the day here. And it went to Penny, but she got one other item as well. Here is the other item. It's a Cowboys starter jacket. And that one sold for $50, along with these that sold for $25 to a viewer. And they went to Penny. She says, "Hi, Kevin and family. My husband and I are resellers out of Washington State. And I watch you all the time. We also love the Trash to Cash podcast. Thank you for all the information and great content. Our eBay store is dregs to dollars, and I wish you and your family to live long and prosper." Okay, a little Trekkie out there. Yes, we are huge Star Trek fans. Can you combine shipping? Yes, of course. Although it probably won't be a huge discount since I do flat rate shipping, and it's going to Washington, so it'll be a little pricey, but I'm sure there'll be a little discount we can pass on. Thank you for the support. You know, as I've evolved as a reseller and a content creator, I've found myself in 2 places that I never thought I would be in. In a position, thanks to everybody out there, to help other resellers in different ways And some of them I've talked about today, and I want to double down on that in the future. And it might turn off some people, but I'm so convinced that there is a shift going on. Not a shift that will leave the old timers behind. I think that's going to be just fine. But a shift for new opportunities for those who want to seize it. And the other place I found myself in, which I want to explore a little bit more later, is as an advocate for reselling in general. And I think there is a place for that, and we all need to band together, because I think there are some challenges coming, unfortunately, but I don't think it's anything we can't overcome. Speaking of new attention, listen, y'all, jackets, new attention, heavy jackets. It's time to get them up, time to get them listed for sure. I mean, it's not time to list tank tops, y'all. It's time to list the jackets, get them out there, get them sold, start making some money, start putting in the work and learning along the way. And I think there are some good times coming for most of us out there. So here we go. This is a, oh geez, I'm losing my mind. Ed Hardy, that's what it is. Ed Hardy bag. And they don't always go well, but this one was cool. And I was like, that design is awesome. And it was $1. Like, I'm gonna buy it. And it sold quickly for 20 bucks plus shipping. Here is a sweet shirt that, quite frankly, I'm surprised hadn't sold already. A little vintage. It does have a few issues, which is probably why it didn't sell. But two iconic brands, all right? Dale Earnhardt and Tasmanian Devil. And that one sold to a viewer, so I'm glad it didn't sell. It does have those issues on it, but I'm glad it didn't sell because it did go to a viewer. And I'm glad it went to you. So here we go. It's Cody. I've had my eye on this one for a while. Glad I could catch it on sale. And so we appreciate that. Thanks for all you do. And $39.89. And I hope you get that out of there. I want to double check the listing, make sure we got it listed right, make sure that's all shown in there. And of course, as always, if we didn't, we'll make it right for you. So always contact us. But that is a cool shirt. And it's got the red car on it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tazes as the pit crew. I like that one, Cody, so I appreciate it. Some of the Hokie jerseys have been hanging around long enough to get a 30% off, and somebody bought 2 of them at that price, 35 bucks plus shipping. By the way, I forgot to say out there, 80stees.com sent her that tee, and that's why we did that promo, but you can get that tee as well if you use code Commonwealth, and you go over there, you can get a 35% off discount, but put Bubba's fiance in the comments below, and we'll pick a winner. And you can win that shirt, or maybe they'll let you get a different one in your size. And I'll get you in contact if you win with them. Poncho, we're trying to do a video here. He's hot. And we'll get you in contact with them over there because they were generous enough not just to send her a t-shirt, but to also give one away. Speaking of t-shirts, Nike Dry Fit size medium. Another one sold $19.95 plus shipping. Sold another set of Scrabble cubes. These been in here for like 5-6 months and they never sold, and then I sell 2 in 3 days. Weird. eBay is weird sometimes. $13.95 plus shipping. Alright, y'all, Reagan just got home and the dogs gave her the sniff test because she's been, were you petting other animals?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're sniffing everything.
You sniffing?
She cheating on you. She cheating on you. At any rate, alright, who you thanking?
Vicky got a CWP and a trash cast sticker.
Awesome. Thank you, Vicky, very, very much.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthSticker.com.
I surprisingly bought a bunch of Vera Bradley that was cheap enough and good enough at the 127 sale. I was surprised, but I bought some for $1 in good condition. Oh, that looks like the right color, but maybe not the right bag. Actually, it is the right bag. What do you know? That one right there, that little pattern in that good a condition sold, and it sold quickly. $26.95 plus shipping. Buying price, condition, and pattern is everything on those. Bad condition, it's just not worth selling at all. Looney Tunes Taz. I think this is the right one, but I'll have to double check because it might be a different one. And this one sold, let me double check. Oh, it doesn't say. I'll have to look closer. These are selling for just under 10 bucks, free shipping. 100% not the right one. Marvin the Martian is the one that sold. All right, y'all, I have to throw this somewhere in the middle of this video, beginning, end. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but this is actually from the night before because I forgot to pull and ship 3 orders, and I realized it the night before you're watching. Well, I don't know. Now I'm confusing myself. It's the same day as I filmed the last episode, but, well, forget it. Let me just show them to you. This one right here, this cut-off vintage, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Esprit. Sport. I don't know. Spirit, I don't know. Y'all ladies, help me out there. That was my error, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but I saw it 100 times growing up, so I picked this guy up for super cheap, like 50 cents a quarter, something like that. It was crazy good, maybe $1. That crazy vintage buy we got, and that one sold pretty good. Sold for $23.70 plus shipping. This one I picked up with another piece to this seat as well, and I think that's inside. And I paid 20 bucks for both of them. And this one right here goes to a Honda, sold for $100 plus shipping. And this next one actually came from Lady Arbitrage while we were at the 127 sale. She had picked it up somewhere along the way, and it was just too big and bulky, and so she gave it to me as part of the Airbnb fee. I was like, hey, sounds good. I should have no problem selling it. And that's exactly what we did. It is a very, very good condition. I'm not looking forward to shipping it. Gone. Stetson hat. And that one sold for $44.95 plus shipping. Hey, one more thing. As you get ready for Q4, one thing you want to make sure, and I don't really use much of the post office boxes anymore. It's just not cheap enough to even offset the cost of buying a box. But if you do order those boxes, you might want to do it now. Sometimes it gets a little slower as the season goes on. And make sure you have all the supplies. I know I've been ordering tape from Joel, American Bubble Boy. 3-inch, he's out of the big packages, unfortunately. But I can still use my own discount, code Commonwealth. So I pay for it, but I get my 5% off. I use my own code. And I've got bubble wrap coming out of my ears because I ordered extra above my subscription. I needed to order paper. I'm trying to find a cheaper option for these as well. And so definitely get ahead of the game before Q4. And sometime in the next couple of weeks, go ahead and order all your supplies and get ready. So at any rate, thank y'all for joining us as always today. And I can't wait to see you next time.